Very good morning, dear students. So today we'll be learning about the Constitution and its characteristics and features. That is the chapter 24 in your civics. Now, what is a constitution? You've already learnt about this in your 7th standard. Let's just recall it once again. For that, let's move to the first slide. So, what is a constitution? A set of principles which may be written or unwritten that establishes the distribution of power within a political system, relationships between political institutions, the limits of the government jurisdiction, the rights of citizens, and the method of amending the constitution itself. In simple words, the constitution has all the rules, laws written in a written way to regulate the country. These laws, these rules has to be followed by each and every citizen of India, whether it's the Prime Minister or the general public. It is the same for everyone. And only by following these rules and regulations and these laws, the country can regulate on a proper, in a proper way or in a proper basis. So let's move to our next slide. Now, preamble. As we all know, we celebrate our Republic Day on 26th of January. Why? Because on that day, our constitution came into action. Right. Now, this constitution has certain rules, certain laws which are being written in a proper way and in a manner which needs to be followed by each and every individual of the country. Now, preamble being the first page of our constitution, in this we have certain characteristics which are being written, like all the citizens of India, they have these rights for sure. First is justice in social, economic and political aspects. Then liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. That is, any individual of the country has all the right, all the liberty to have their expression of thoughts, their beliefs in any of the religion they believe, their faith in any of the religion, and they can worship any of the god. Then equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all. That is, irrespective of their caste, creed, their gender, they have all the right to have a particular status in the country. Then is fraternity. Fraternity means the brotherhood, the feeling of brotherhood in our country. So in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. So although it was being came into adoption on 26th of November itself, but then it came into action on 26th of January when we celebrate Republic Day. Okay, so next is the features of Indian Constitution. Now, Constitution has to have certain characteristics, certain features which we need to see or we need to learn. So there are certain characteristics of our Constitution of India. The first is the longest written constitution. Now, why do we call it as the longest written constitution? Because the Indian Constitution is the only constitution which has 448 articles and 12 schedules. So that is the reason it is known as the lengthiest written constitution of the world. Then it is partly rigid and partly flexible. So that is, according to the situation, it may be partly rigid, that is partly strict as well, and partly flexible according to the situation it may vary. Then is, it is a democratic republic, as India is the largest democracy of in the world. Then is parliamentary system of government, because in India we do have parliamentary form of government, that is we have Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, we have a particular parliament. Then it is a federation. We have certain fundamental rights, around 7 fundamental rights which is being given to each and every individual of the country. Then is directive principles of state policy. Then fundamental duties. Now with fundamental rights, we do have fundamental duties which we need to follow. Then it is a secular state, and independent judiciary, and single citizenship. So these are certain characteristics which we need to learn. Now next is Now, our constitution is being divided into legislative, executive, and judicial. Now, what do we mean by legislative? In legislative, we do have our parliament, that is the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and then it is being divided on a state level as well. Then we have executive. In executive, we have the head of our country, which is the president, and then it is later on divided into vice president and so on, the executives later on. Then judicial. Judicial is the court. The highest court in our country is the Supreme Court, later on High Court, and then are the subordinate courts. So this is how the constitution is being divided into. Now, why do we need a constitution? This is a question which we need to understand. That is, why do we need a constitution? Because we need a constitution to govern a country properly. If we do not have a constitution, there's nothing written in the constitution, there's nothing written in any of the document, the rules or the regulations or the laws. If they're not written, then do you feel the country can be governed properly, or the citizens will follow a particular segment? No, they won't. So that is the reason it needs to be there somewhere written, all the laws and the rules which need to be followed by everyone. Then the second is, the constitution defines the nature of political system of a country. Third, sometimes we feel strongly about an issue that might go against our larger interest, and the constitution helps us guard against this. So sometimes our opinion on a particular issue may be different from the ones which from the laws or the rules which are written in the constitution, but later on we come to know about this, that it is in the interest of us only, or the individuals only, on a larger aspect. Then all the three organs of government, executive, legislature and judiciary, functions within the constitution. That is, according to the constitution, whatever it is written in the constitution, only according to that these executives, legislature and judiciary works. All the three organs of government, including ordinary citizens, derive their power and authority, that is fundamental right, from the constitution. Now, from where do we get our fundamental right? That is right to education, then right to religion, all these rights, where do we get it from? It is from the constitution. If they act against it, it is unconstitutional and unlawful. So there is a punishment if anything goes against the fundamental rights of the individuals. So constitution is required to have authoritative allocation of power and function, and also to restrict them within its limits. So that is the reason it is very important to have a constitution in a country, in a huge country like India, which is the only country with a number of religions, number of castes, number of different individuals living together, so that the country is governed in a proper way, and it regulates on a larger basis, in a rightful manner. So that is the reason we need a constitution. So this is the brief summary of the chapter. I hope you people understand this. Your homework for today is just go through the whole slides, the whole of the PPT, and try to learn all the characteristics of the constitution.